Greetings. Hello. Hey. Hi, brothers. And I've known Maria long enough. I never thought about it in the very beginning, but of course, greetings more to sisters since the whatever statistics of the YouTube, which I try not to pay attention to, but once in a while I'll just look around. And it said that 85% of the listenership was female, women. And that was the last time I looked at it. And I thought that really makes sense. And we want you, we're hoping, and we are commanding the water, air, earth, and fire to come to us now. And hopefully, my body and yours can convert that energy from the sun into human sunlight known as vril. I knew nothing about this until I met Maria. And when I heard Vril Society, I was just like, it's some kind of miracle that I didn't hear about this until, and like I said, maybe somewhere I had read this. I had to, it seems. I remember the first time her saying vril to me and me going like, what? The first time she said it to me is, she was like, my two favorite stories, outside of the classic myths of our time, of our age. She's like, because I was a girl when I got these books and read these books, when I was a woman later with The Wizard of Oz. But she's like, my favorite book is teenager was Vril, the Coming Race. And I was like, what? I can't remember exactly what I said, but I said something like Phil, like Fill, and she was like, no, Vril. And I just beyond thought, what's that? And she was like, sit down and relax. It's going to take a minute for me to explain to you. She said, don't be embarrassed that your mother talks to you this way. She said, when we are having magic, sex, the goal is the orgasm. And I was like, right, I'm following you. She said, all energy in the physical world comes from the sun. One way or another, you're seeing what you're seeing because of the sun. The sun's making it physical. The observer is there to say that the physical things exist, but he's only observing sunlight in one way or another. I was like, totally makes sense to me. Occultist. I had, by that time, I was for a year and a half, I was exactly what I talk about against now, because I did not know any better, and you don't know any better, and people don't know any better. I never said they did. And I'm not saying that it's dumb. I'm just saying our enemies are very sophisticated. The webbing, the nets to catch you in and rewrap you are thick and many. You know, you jump out of the Christian net or the atheist net or whatever, uh, and you want to get spiritual, you jump into, for a lack of words, the new age beliefs that we would know as new age reincarnation, which we don't believe in, source, another word for God, which we don't believe in. All these neutral things. Okay, let's give some examples. Okay, God, um, from me and Maria's perspective, only exists as a being of the collective unconscious of those who believe in it. And in its way, it's even tangibly existing because their thoughts are creating it and sustaining it. And then someone like Maria comes along and says, "Oh, really? That's all powerful? Then why don't we ever see its power?" "Oh, it's because you're free will." Then it's not all powerful. If it doesn't have power over my will, then it's no more powerful than me. But they're like, "No, it created you and did. So they would say to me, "You're an atheist." And I'd say, "No, I'm not." And they'd say, "But you don't believe in God." I'd say, "What you're saying is God? I believe in. It's me. It's my true self is what you're describing as some other being." But check this out. God isn't all powerful. Out in the collective unconscious, Frankenstein called God is not all powerful. We prove it every fucking day. George Carlin proved it. If you're real, God, then strike the audience dead. But on a real level, my kid's dying of a brain tumor. God, if you're real, fucking help us. Oh, your free will. Your free will. Oh, so our free will is an excuse for you to never ever. And you're like, but Saint, somebody did a miracle 500 years ago. Or Mary appeared to kids in Austria. Well, then Mary's a fucking cunt ass whore if she has power to heal kids' brain tumors, but she left them to go tell people how great she is and to go tell children, "I'm great, I'm like Jesus." And when I consult Maria about anything, she's got a complete different story. Of course, Donna can't heal everyone. She's a person like me and you. So and you have to see how there's a war over the archetypal images. So why would Maria show up on the astral plane to our our girl Helki Rain, the young lady whose horse died and she was grieving and mourning? And I knew it wasn't by accident that my true self found this on YouTube. I mean, I consciously do this. I consciously turn on YouTube and I'm like, "Hey, true self, the world sucks. The world's boring. If you're real, true self, divine me something to watch so I don't waste my time. I don't want to waste my fucking time." Um, I think that way. So when I seen this and she's like, I didn't want to tell people this, but when I was grieving, I had my eyes closed. Mother Mary appeared to me. And I just thought I cried with her because I was thinking about my cat, and I was also thinking about Maria already telling me how she had a horse named Georgia, um, that she loved so much, and that she was how brokenhearted she was when Georgia died. It was all like I was like, I was there with our sister Helki. I was there mourning with her. And I like kind of seen it, and I was like, that's Maria. Like totally in a merry disguise. And if you knew these people, they would do this in a heart fucking beat. Because you know why? She hates Christianity, hates the vibration of this dumb, silent Mary that never says or does anything. She just follows her son and obeys everything and never has her own say. And people might be like, well, what about the Gospel of Mary? I'm not Jewish. Like, okay, it's great that Jewish people have a very creative shit. If you think that any of this is literal, you've lost us. We now think you're deceived. You are deceived. Miracles and shit don't happen like that because this is a myth. Like, we've lost what a myth is. A myth is like telling a story, but telling it from multi dimensions, multi layers of meaning on purpose as art. You might say, but are you saying there was no Mother Mary? I'm saying the entire thing that you're taking as history did not happen whatsoever. And it's built very sophisticatedly built on the archetypes in our unconscious. And the main thing in our unconscious, being Venusians that were born on Venus after the world had already ended, the very Christus that's not the Christ for us. We don't look on Venus and go, a man saved us. We seriously, everybody knows we are here because of Maria Orsic. This is the greatest secret ever for our generation, for our people. For our people, the greatest play is that you cannot remember who Maria is. But on Venus, she is probably, I mean, like she said, it's nothing I chose, but I'm proud. I am the most known or famous person ever. Every single school child on the whole planet of Venus learns about me. They learn you are living here because of this woman. And that's why Lou, Donna, everyone had to agree she had to be taken out of the physical history because she lives in our blood memory as mother of us all. We would, metaphysically, in the bliss of the imagination, we know her is like, you are our mother. We would be on that hellish earth under these hellish governments, living for 40 or 50, 60 years, dying of horrible diseases, working our whole lives as slaves to these banker chosen ones. You saved us. You saved us. And this is what she was teaching me as a Missouri River goddess. I didn't even know that she was Maria at the time. She's just saying, I'm the Missouri River goddess. I'm from Venus. You're a Venusian. You were born on Venus. And the reason why is me. Me. I am the girl who saved the world. And what's crazy is when she first told me that the world ended in 1942 was a year before she told me she was Maria Orsic. So I was going around to all my friends and saying, "Man, this blonde Missouri River goddess is telling me that we know nothing about history. That the most important thing that ever happened was after Hiroshima and Nagasaki got hit by nukes, the rest of the world went paranoid crazy that these elite British American warmongers are going to kill everybody. They built nukes as fast as they could, and they all built nukes as fast as they could. And within 3 years, they were just at full blown nuclear war. Britain dropping them on Germany, dropping them on France, America hitting Russia, Russia hitting America. Even they started to nuke each other's colonies in Africa, each other's resources. Like, so you can't go there and get any resources to build more bombs. And it was the first time that a nuclear war had happened since the giants. They didn't know what was going to happen. And just within a few months, the whole pieces of the earth would be completely dark for days on end. And it fucked up all the growing cycles. All the plants started going into fruiting way too early and fucked everything up. And the first year, there was a crazy famine where it was calculated we're not going to make it, not even close, through another year without. We needed like a bumper crop, and we were going to get even a lot less than this year. The next year is going to be a lot less, and we need actually a more than normal. And we're not going to get just less than normal, we're going to get less than less. And they dropped more nukes. This is when the British occultist really decided we are the beast. Do what Aleister Crowley says. And they led. This is Maria, who's sitting here right now. They seen themselves as the greatest, most grandest black magicians on the biggest level ever. That what they would do would turn their intent, the power of choice, to we will choose to kill everyone and end the physical human being. And so they started not making sense, just like Trump doesn't make any sense. Nothing he says makes sense of why we're doing anything. Why are we over in Iran? We have all, he goes, we got all the oil we need. We don't need any other oil. Then why the fuck are we there? They can't have a nuke. Pakistan has a nuke. North Korea has a nuke. All these crazy people have nukes. So we're going to sacrifice everything because one out of 10 crazy people has nukes, but we're the craziest person. They should be fucking taking our nukes from us. And the storyline is, well, we're going to sacrifice every fucking thing that we are in America, hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars to stop these people from having a nuke. It's like these people over here, even Trump himself can't play the game fully. They're like, Russia's terrible, Russia's horrible. They have thousands of nukes. We're never going to take their nukes. And yet the storyline is Iran can't have a nuke. Iran can't have a nuke. You're going to kill millions of people. You're stopping the fertilizer. So what? They got it. Trump actually said Americans are willing to pay high gas prices and high food prices for Iran not to have a nuke. And I live in the real world. Not one fucking person that I work with or know agrees to that. Every last person is like, the whole world has nukes. What do we fucking care if they have a nuke? I don't care if they have a nuke. Lower the fucking prices. And then you look in, and this motherfucker's making billions, hundreds of billions off of these fake coins and shit, these fake fucking shit that doesn't exist. A fake coin. And the motherfucker walked away with $1 billion, hundreds of millions, $600 million or something. And nobody is calling for his arrest. He should be arrested. You can't sell someone something fake. That's against the fucking law. And he gets on, and I know I'm getting fired up, but to complete the story, a reporter gets the guts and asks him about it, and he says, "The people who support me don't care." She said, "What? You don't think that they care that they lost their money?" He said, "Nobody cares that I made money. I'm a businessman." He said something like, "I'm in business. I'm an investor. No one cares that I made $600 million off of a fake coin and tricked working class people." You know what I mean? This isn't someone who's deceived. This is someone who, behind those words, is saying, the plan is to kill all you fucking people. I don't care what you think about the 600, because I know where this bus is going. It's going off a fucking million-foot cliff. He's like, fucking who cares if you don't like it? We're all going off this cliff. And of course, again, I'll just go with the flow. Why are a lot of these people like this? What is some of the big, giant Masonic and secret society secrets? This is one of the greatest top level secrets that you have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in Scientology, or you would have to pay the Golden Dawn to initiate you into a easy death, guaranteed. They offer you, okay, now you're on this level and you're rich as can be. You used magic, Masonic, Solomonic, um, black magic to make yourself rich by exploiting others, is how you get billions. You don't earn billions of dollars. And so this level of initiation is that you've been initiated into an opportunity to invest in your own death. We've developed technology that will, in an instant, money back guaranteed, that it will transfer you from your physical body to your astral body, the body you will have when you die, with zero pain, zero fear. It will happen in an instant. It's relocation by location. And they literally say, we are the manifestation of the collective unconscious. We're Yahweh. We have that power. It's through technology that we've acquired this power. And now, you can buy it. And we have literally, there's a Bible verse that says something like, all men fear death. So they're like, we are the prophetic fulfillment that Jesus would take away the fear of death. You can buy this. You can buy a fearless death, and you can completely, totally choose the time that you go. You could come in here tomorrow and say, I'm ready to go. And this is this real that Aleister Crowley in his books, the OTO, the Golden Dawn, they are all about a hierarchy. And they were always, they talk about it in open. They were always in contact, just like Blavatsky, with their like bosses, the people basically trapped in eternal return in the first time Earth. So it wasn't technology. They were trapped as a ghost. You can think of it like that. They were trapped as ghosts who were interacting with the living. Right? This is who Crowley and these guys were obeying. They were late 18th century Kabbalist, Jewish Kabbalist. And, so for the initiate, the Golden Dawn, Thelema was, we're the manifestation of the masses God. That's how we took away your fear of death. God is not all powerful. God is not omniscient everywhere at once. This is what they teach their things. They say, look out in the earth. Obviously, some all powerful being isn't doing anything because you're that being. And they don't know that. This is exactly how it's taught. That being is created by the collective unconscious, but it has no soul. It has no personality. It's waiting. All the believers in, quote, God were unconsciously waiting for a man to jump in what they had created in their imagination. They really think that Jesus Christ was a man walking on earth that was all powerful, all knowing, everywhere at once, and all loving, which really does. Some of the, that's the part that you can't logically, a physicist or whatever may be able to scare you with, terminology, but you know what love is. You know what real love is, and there's no way you look out at the earth and you say, you know what I see? A loving God is in control. Because you know what? The Palestinians are unbelievers and they deserve it. Israel has a right to defend itself. They are the chosen. You know what I mean? And they're like, that's love. Love is that he's chosen us and he's brought the United States military to protect us from the evil Palestinians. They'll grow up to be terrorists. You know what I mean? Think about how many people are devoted. Muslims, Christians, and Jews are absolutely devoted, the masses of them, that there is some all-powerful being overseeing this fucking mess. That's in it. It's as far as we know, it's always been a mess. And the mess we're looking at right now, people from the 1700s and 1800s and even for would say we're living in goddamn paradise. That they were starving most of the days of their life. They didn't have air conditioning, heat, or and they just were too fucking worried and working too hard to ever even look in themselves. And that's why they were primed up and they were ready. The masses were, hey, listen, all you got to do is believe in Jesus and God will take care of everything, as if life is that simple. You look out in yourself, you look at life and love and stuff and go, and who says, oh, it's just totally black and white and simple. You just do this, you go to heaven. You don't do it, you go to a lake of fire. You know what I mean? There's no relational logic to anything. And they're like, well, God was so pissed off because we were jacking off and fucking and drinking that he had to send his son and ordain, predestine, work his spirit and make us kill him because that's the only thing that could satisfy his wrath. And we should have, but because, well, let me say it this way at least. I would look around at those people today and I'd say, you're telling me so. The meaning of all of our existence was God created us with the urges and desires to sin, supposed sin, and you're comparing, let me tell you, they're comparing um, adultery to killing someone's child. Like that's the same kind of temptation, or even masturbation. They're like, it's all the same from God. I mean, you pleasured yourself. You might as well have slit your neighbor's throats. You're like, that makes sense to you? That that's how God thinks. Like you could have stole $10 or you could have stole $10 million from all of your employees that worked their whole life. It's the same to God. And you think that makes sense. That's and so he created us, and they love to use the word gave us free will as if we didn't have it when we were born, or when at some point we were just total robots and had no will to choose for ourselves. So it's literally taught that because God made us in his own image with a free will that he already knew. Check this out. This is how they try to prove it's all supernatural. They say there's a verse in Hebrews that said Jesus is the lamb slain before the foundation of the earth, because they're trying to give like an as above, so below. And they're trying to prove that God knows all things, past, present, future. So Jesus was crucified, they say in Hebrews, before man was created, because this was all God's plan to create us to piss himself off so he could come to the conclusion the only justice for me is to punish someone else who didn't do it, who's perfect. This is the most nightmarish principles you would ever teach a child. You would never, ever teach a child to do what they tell us was God's greatest work ever. And they try to sell it to you this way, but he did it for you. And then you start to unwind your guilt. You're like, hold on. Why exactly did I feel guilty after masturbating and feeling an incredible release, incredible physical sensation of pleasure? And this is horrible. Who got hurt? Who was harmed? When I was alone and I just felt like I needed to do this, and I did alone, who was harmed? How was it? Why should I feel guilty? I mean, I can understand. There's a whole other brainwashing that you're brainwashed through, even movies and shit, that you should wait to have sex with your husband or wife, you know? So if you don't, you're already taught, even if you're not a Christian, to feel guilty. And I mean, and I think almost anyone out there listening, probably had an experience of this. I know I did. And I know I had a super sort of psychic, I would call her, first girlfriend. And she was analyzing very closely how she felt after our magic, and we were both taking like psychology classes, and they don't have the answers, but at least they're talking about it. Yeah, at least you feel that way as a 19-year-old. I mean, I didn't get any, but she too, like me, was like trying to know herself, trying to figure out, and she was like, why, y- like, but she, like me, we were stuck in between of like intuitionally. I never said I didn't believe in God until I met Maria Orsic. And it broke like a spell in just a few moments. And she was like, in your personal experience, have you experienced this all powerful being? Has it approached you? And I was like, it was all me. Like everything that I thought. And that's why you can't do that's why you're not all powerful. Even when you believe in God and you believe that the Holy Spirit's working through you, you believe God is talking to you in an inner voice and shit, you still can only do what you can do. You're not all powerful, not even for a single flashing moment. You know what I mean? And the logical source of this sort of supernatural communication going inside of you is your true self. And your true self knows exactly where you are in the matrix, in technology, and you made the plan. So it makes total sense that you won't reveal yourself to yourself till the right moment, till all has been fulfilled. That's exactly what happened to me. When Maria, she's the first, she re-quoted what the marijuana plant said to me. What you see in God, I see in you. The marijuana plant, as a like living person, said to me, I hear you speak of God. I am a plant. You, not all human beings, You. You are like what you speak of to me. And that set me down a trail of like, hold on. Maybe I don't know myself. And I had never heard anyone say this. And it came straight from Maria to me. I never heard anyone say this. She said, only eternal true love is real. Everything else is an illusion, Joe. Do you hear me? She said, I've been teaching you. You're in the matrix, in technology. But I didn't say that all the matrix is an illusion. I said everything that's not eternal true love to us. The principle, the idea, eternal love that matches. You don't have to worry about the person leaving you. You came in the same egg. You're twins, in other words, or triplets, or even more. She said, I'm talking about everything we call reality. It's happening in our mind. She's like, I'm not going to talk theories and fancy way of trying to trick your mind into knowing what I already know because I am millions of years in the future from you. But Joseph, if a tree falls in the wilderness and you or me is not there to see it, did it ever happen to you? And I went, no, you've taught me not to take anyone's opinion for anything. She's like, right. So we're the kind of person that's when someone says a tree fell in the wilderness, we're like, I'm from Missouri. Fucking show me. Or I don't believe you. And they're like, oh, come on. I wouldn't lie to you. I've lived in this world and been burned too many times. And, you know, we're not really talking about a tree falling. We're talking about God, an all powerful, all knowing, ever present being. Right? You're telling me something's there that I am not the observer of. It's not there. Oh, yes, it is there. It's invisible energy. Okay. Where's its power? Where's its effect? It's love. Okay. I'm looking at a child that was blown up by a United States bomb, a 3-year-old child blown apart by a bomb. Where's your all powerful being? Where was he? Well, you see, if our free will didn't choose and we fell from sin, do you know that that's the whole original sin thing is totally, completely a lie? Our our European white people never believed that every single person was under a curse because a woman wanted knowledge. A woman wanted to know things. This is the stupidest trap you can ever fall into. And you know what the fall is? The real fall is falling from who you were on Venus into being born, falling into a total mind control system. From the day you're born, your parents are going, thank God she's here. Thank God she's healthy. I mean, immediately you're just born into this whole thing like, child, don't you know? God created all of us. All this didn't just come from nowhere. A good and loving God created it all. And you know, You start to grow up, you're like, "Well," Sylvia Plath said, my dad," she was 12 years old, "My dad was sick, my dad was my favorite person. My dad was the smartest, person I ever knew. I admired and respect him as a child." She said, "I looked at my mother more as like a dumb puppet that didn't know how to think for herself, but I had respect for my father's mind. He got sick. We were like Methodist Christians or something, or maybe she was Catholic." She said, "I prayed incessantly, nonstop. Jesus, Mary, help my father, help." And when he died, she said, said, "I hate you, God, and if you're real, I don't believe in you." And I feel her. I feel her. You can either go two ways. You can let someone scare you and be like, "God knows better. That's why he took him. And he's in a better place now." And you can be like, "Okay, so I'm going to die too one day. So I better just fear God. And then everything will be okay when I die. You know, let me not think about how God stood by silent and would not use his power as my dad suffered and suffered and suffered and slowly died an agonizing, horrible death. I won't think about that. Let me just be afraid that he'll do it to me and then not make everything better when I die." But she took it the other way of like, "Okay, if you're real, I tried my best, motherfucker. You did nothing. This is the line. Fuck you." I mean, you got to respect that as from a 12-year-old kid being that real. That's why I liked her when I read, I liked her poetry, and, she's also from a Jewish family, that, like Jews that were Christians, but it's crazy how you see this, we're from a Jewish family, but we're Catholic or I don't know, maybe I have that wrong that she just was Jewish and believed in God, but one way or another, she told God, "You wouldn't help me, so fuck you." And like she said, like millions of other people said, "This is all I want. I'll be poor the rest of my life. I'll fucking do whatever you say. Just don't let him die." You know? And to be like, "Well, I can answer that all in one thing, free will." Oh, right. I know. Um, Children's minds are completely free of influence, aren't they? I mean, all these commercials, all these TikTok videos flashing like, you know, it's like when we were kids, we'd sit down and watch a half-hour show. Now kids watch a half a minute, and are ready for one. It's like they watch goddamn 25 shows in a half an hour instead of one. So and you're telling me it has no effect and that their wills are completely free and that they can make a free will choice to give their heart to Jesus. I mean, this is played out. You're played out. You are totally played out. The youth are done with you. That's another thing with the demographics from this show that it's like 80%, 90% people younger than me. I'm 57 and yeah, most of the people listening are like 25 to 35. See, they're not offended when I say, "You know what? The world is this fucked up." The last great world leader was Adolf Hitler, and he didn't put people in ovens. He wasn't completely full of injustice. Those work camps were created after this religion waged terrorist warfare on German citizens and declared this is what they love to fucking do. They love for all of history. Look back to kings and leaders who choose, instead of fighting like men on a battlefield, to attack your economy. Boycott Germany. This boycott started in the 20s. And people don't even realize that it was a nationalist movement. That's why they're National Socialists, because they were fighting for the name Germany to even be the name of the country. They love to do this. They love to take your identity away. These black magicians who hide and use, but it's specific. This Jewish identity, um, they hide behind that because it's so completely in your face, racist, and everything else we're against. God chose us and not you. And you go straight to Romans chapter 9. This is what makes Christians Christians. Paul and Lou, he shown me how he devised this. He devised this trick. I mean, this is one of the most ultimate tricks to test your authenticity. So you're a real Christian and you're having supernatural shit happen with the Holy Spirit, and you get to Romans chapter 9. This is the famous chapter that Christians love to quote from. It is by faith, it's by grace through faith and not by works that we are saved. Did you hear that? It is by grace through faith, not by what we actually do, that we're saved. And every serious Christian goes, okay, I have to, this is the crux of it all. I have to understand this. And when I first became a Christian, was going to Bible college and shit, my best friend, we had been on the same spiritual path the whole time together. And I had this conversation with him as a total fucking dupe. I was like, I finally understand it. I was like, Scotty, we never understood what Jesus did. And this is truly what a brainwashed. Think about the principles of what I'm going to describe to you, because it will kind of suck you in because it's playing on your unconscious. But I told him, I get it now. And I didn't say it this way, but you think about it, this is really what it means. But God is a perfect motherfucker, and he is a bitch that hates everything that's not perfect, even though he created it. That makes no sense. But he's perfect. And the moment we fuck up, it's unforgivable because he's this perfect being. And it don't make any sense, but he's pissed off. And by principle, he's going to have to throw us in a lake of fire because we're not perfect. And how does the Bible reach somebody that's actually logical and wants to know, how does this fucking make sense? This is how they try to make it make sense. Grace is what is a gift given to you instead of what you deserve. So, on a spiritual level, grace is I am going to forgive you of all your evil, which no one says, what about the victims? Nobody, when you're greedily wanting just to spiritually feel better and you want to be saved, you don't even think about it. It's retarded because you're only thinking about your own sins of like, I guess I am fucked up because I jacked off one, you know, I do it all the time, or I guess I need help because I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. Okay, I need grace. I need God to violate the most serious principle ever, that without earning it, I'm going to give you something valuable. And you, right away, if you have any wisdom, before you receive this gift of eternal salvation, you should be any gift from a stranger, super valuable. Someone wants us to give you a brand new Cadillac Escalade or something. You could be like, okay, obviously, I don't deserve this. You're telling me you're giving me this with no strings attached, that there's no responsibility. I can take it and just smash it into a wall and you're not going to be mad? Makes no sense. That without consulting the victims in any way, shape, or form, you could have raped someone, murdered someone. He'll forgive you, they tell you. It's all the same to God. It's all falling short of perfection. And without any reconciliation to the victim directly, you could be given, without deserving it, the very thing, the peace and joy in your heart that you stole from your victim. You see how unjust this is? How just evil this is? To say, I'm God because I'm pissed off at everybody. I'll go ahead, I'll forgive you and give you peace and joy. And never even the victim of the forgiven sins is never mentioned by Paul, Jesus, or anyone else. Paul sums it all up by just saying, well, all sin is against God. Really, when my daughter's murdered, or my son is murdered, or he's ripped off out of his life savings, or my daughter's brutally raped, you're telling me that justice is that she literally could end up in a lake of fire and her predator could be forgiven because of what? Grace. This is the word they use. This word used to mean beautiful. She's graceful. She's beautiful. She moves in a beautiful way. Got changed into salvation is you being given something you didn't deserve. And Jesus taking your punishment. Motherfucker, what about the victim? Um, this was Maria on the deepest levels telling me, Joe, I know it's hard to believe that you've come this far, but you're just begun. And the next step is Yahweh is no more God than Zeus. El is no more God than Thor. And she said, you tell me, Who made the decision that Yahweh, Elohim, Adonai, these are literally different gods. Adonai is just Sumerian Adonis. It's one letter taken away. Um, like she said, who decided this myth is an all powerful universal being, but Zeus isn't? She said, couldn't someone just go into the Greek myths and go, hey, everywhere it says Zeus, put Lord or God? This is literally where it came from. Do you know that? Our ancestors have been like, there's no such being. What the fuck are you talking about? They would call you into like a village council and they'll be like, why the fuck are you telling people that there's this all powerful being that they should be scared of? It'd be one thing if it existed. We would all sit here and say, how did you meet it? But, son, this is a reflection of your own eternal self. This is what we don't understand. We've been so brainwashed that we don't want to go on a super deep level and go, what does it logically am I eternal or not? What does it mean? What are the consequences? What's the full out conclusion that I am eternal? The first thing is I've always existed somehow, and someone would say in source. That's not me. I'm talking about me. Well, you were a particle of this other big being. I don't believe that. I've never been shown that. And if that was true, like on some level or something, then I'm in full rebellion. Going, listen, I'm now my own being, separate. Hold on. Okay, so before I get, as I was getting lost in the weeds, with the whole injustice of it all. But what is important, though, what I'm trying to get to in Romans chapter 9 about grace, it is by grace through faith and not by works, which you are saved from the wrath of God. Okay? I wanted to fully understand this. So, you know what I did? I read the rest of it. Like most Christians, the pastors love to just use like one verse and talk about it. And it's like their job to apply it to your life and shit. So you miss the context, of the meaning, the like author's intended meaning, because he goes right in to explain how this can be. Because he's going to say, how can this be? Is God unjust that he forgives horrible sins without giving the victim even a thought? And why would he do this? And how could it be that Jesus was killed before man was even created? How could this be? And check this out. He says, the real truth is the Jews were chosen, they were God's elect, but only in this physical way of manifestation as a nation with armies and shit. He said, but Christ came to show that they're not the real chosen, that what grace by faith and not by works means is that before the foundation of the world, when God, human sacrificed his own son before the world even began. So this saying like this was all a plan of God. You were in Christ already because everything's predestined, foreordained by God. And he says, "You are the elect of God. You were saved because he chose to save you, and that compared to God, we all deserve to go to a lake of fire, and that we're lucky that he even chose any of us." And I mean, if you know Plato's Noble Lie, that he says cult leaders, politicians, and shit, they will use like deep, crazy lies like God is all powerful and sees you all the time to keep order. It's like an AI spitting out, like, here's how you keep order with the masses. You gotta make them fear something that transcends them and believe some. Okay, how do you get them to war with each other? Well, you got to make them believe that they're completely separate from everyone else and make them the cause of anger and hatred. What better way to do that than teach these people, tell these other people that you're chosen by the all powerful being and they're not. That would be the that'd be the best way to piss people off, you know? And that would be a great way to unify a nation, to have a enemy that truly hates them, because it makes other people truly hate you when you say, you know what, your kids can die, your kids can starve because you're not chosen. We are. No, it would send any human being into rage, and any human being would scream, "We're all people. Who the fuck do you think you are?" And they did. The Tibetans screamed, the Palestinians screamed, the Germans screamed. You know what I first noticed after Maria. Let me talk about this real quick. I drank my mushrooms. This is like maybe a month after I knew she was Maria Orsic. She was like, "Hey, biggest ohm to you, JoJo." She's like, "Ask me anything you want to know." Again, have you been thinking this week? Ask me anything you want to know. And I said, in Germany, what did it feel like? She was like, it felt magic. The people were unified, and it didn't have anything to do with God, really. It was a lot of Christians, a lot of Catholics, a lot of, um, but I was talking about in the middle of the war. Like she said, it became a magical battle of the unconscious, of the collective unconscious. And it was joyful and sorrowful because we knew by that time in like 1941, and I was going to get to Lou, right? As I kind of left off of when I drank my mushrooms and said to her, "Do you have a teacher?" Actually, she put it in my mind. right? And she said, everyone has a teacher. Okay, and I think people have wanted to know what Maria's story exactly, what exactly happened during World War II. So I said to her, and this is what, where we're going to go with it, where she's going to go with it. I have a teacher. I call him Lou. And I was like, Lucifer? And she was like, that's like a pen name or a nickname or something. No, I just call him Lou. She was like, literally, Joe, I mean it literally, that St. Louis, million of years before there was ever a Missouri or the city of St. Louis, was a city in Atlantis or under the government of Atlantis in America, which was called Albania back then. And like she said, there was all these A states, or nations that began with A, Albania being one of them. What we would call like today's America. Like she said, almost in the exact same geography. But there was a city named Louis, or Louisis. And that's where Mississippi comes from. Louis would be the male Mrs. Miss Is, Mississippi, Miss Us, Louis, right? They like to like switch the part of Lou's linguistic magic is like one letter moved around. Like I always said, man, I'm really, really liking Homer and, Troy and Helen of Troy. And she was like, yeah, you mean her? And I laughed. I go, hold it. So it's the same letters, just move the H, on the other side of the M, and you have her. And I was like, mother backwards. Her is like some magic way of saying, it's like they love to do this. He, she, he, male, female, in the name, you know? I go, whoa, I didn't think of that. Her. And I text my sister the other day, you are my girl. Instead of my home girl, you're my girl. And we'll end on this. Um, she said, yes, I have a teacher. Lucifer is actually, she said, you know how you had the core books, the core movie scripts, the core movies of Star Wars by George Lucas, the inventor and writer of Star Wars? I was like, yeah. She said, you remember how other authors started writing off of the Star Wars movies? And it wasn't no longer George Lucas, but they were calling it Star Wars. She said, this is the same thing with the mythology. Okay, Lou Lou is Lou. He's an author. She said, the reason he's my teacher, the reason I connected with him is he's a great singer, dancer, writer, artist. So Lucifer was Jewish. Okay. And it's like their version, their take on Lu. And then you get into the Celtic mythology and you have Lu, god of light. You know, he's not called Lucifer anywhere. But the Jews did the Lucifer because they love to steal from a culture and like claim it into theirs. Okay. So they're going to call this being the fallen angel. Okay. And do you think it's a coincidence? At the time before the Christians came and genocided our people, the biggest premier goddess of beauty and love, the Aphrodite, was Sif. At other times it was Freya, at other times it was Frigg. But in certain places, it's geographical. Sif, wife of Thor, in the regions where Thor was the main god as a symbol of metaphysical, symbol of the forces of nature. His wife, Sif, was like the goddess. And, it talks about her hair, her blonde hair, her blue eyes. Clearly, she's Northern European, you know. And so they put her, Lu, Sif, her, and they put the her on there because that's a traditional reference back to eternal true love is about the him, her, the he, she, to she, he, to her, him, the interchangeability of two people. Okay. And so she was like, he's my God, my teacher. Since I was 12 years old, everything I'm teaching you, he taught me. Okay, and where I want to get to is the next ritual. I just, not too long ago, she told me what really happened here. My next ritual, I didn't understand, and I should have got it, that she was introducing me to her teacher, but I didn't know this. And I met this dude and I never asked his name. Because she just told me, I am going to bring you somewhere that most people cannot go. And you're going to be very lucky to just go to this place and see this place. And I was, laying down into my mushroom meditation. And I left my body. It was like me and her were flying through black space. I was like, we're moving. She's like, I'm taking you somewhere. Like the physical sensation of moving is because me and you are like thought and memory, and we're moving right now. Back in time, forward in time, out of reality, out of the fake reality, out of the real reality. We're meeting someone. I'm taking you somewhere. I'm taking you to a place that was created by the imagination of a man, a human being just like me and you. And like, it was like all white light, and suddenly it just opened up, and we were like standing. It kind of reminded me of like the Wizard of Oz, kind of like the yellow brick road, this like road that led to this gate. And down the hill from this, like, gated property was this beautiful mansion, like castle, actually castle looking. And there was a dude walking towards us, and he opened the gate, and he came out, and he told us, "Come on in, come in." But we just stood by the gate, and started talking inside of it. He closed it. Me, Maria, and him are inside of it. And as soon as I see him, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I've never seen I was like, he looks familiar. Me and Maria's minds met, and I went, he's Odin. And she laughed, and she goes, he is. I go, no. I go, have you ever seen? I go, I don't know what I'm seeing right now, but it's like from the Eddas. There's like some kind of pictures, ancient drawings of Odin or something. I go, he looks like the dude. His nose and he's talking while me and Maria are like telepathically talking. Like, who is this guy? I'm saying to her, and she's like, she's saying the whole time, I'm going to take you to one of my friends, to one of my teachers, to my teacher. But I forgot all that as soon as I came in his presence. I keep looking at him, trying to concentrate on what he's seeing, but every time I look at him, I'm like, this is the dude of some like ancient picture of Odin. And so I looked back to look closer at his face, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, is it just makeup? The dude's wearing makeup on half of his face. I think to myself. I didn't notice it at first because it was subtle. It's like very well done woman's makeup. And he's a very blonde dude, with these bright blue eyes and like blonde eyebrows and he right away like telepathically connected to me, and he's like, you want to know why and how I look this way? I'm like, I guess keep saying to Maria, like in my mind, like, this is crazy. This is crazy. That this living dude is sitting there talking to me, and he's like I've never seen anyone, like half someone else, half man, half woman. There, I said it. And he's like, but it was subtle. You wouldn't have. I didn't even notice when I first met him and just looked in his eyes and like shook his hand. I did not know. I just thought to myself, wow, all these like Venusian people that Maria bring me to, they all wear makeup, even the dudes. It's not like womanly makeup. Sometimes it'll be like warrior, like Indian warrior makeup. Other times it'll just be like a movie, like a costume, a disguise makeup. But this dude's was weird that it was I I told Maria I can't explain how he was like beautiful. Even though only half his face was a beautiful woman, the beautiful woman part made the other man part not so like manly, that it like registered to me like the first man I've ever thought was beautiful was half of a man. And he was the first person. Maria brought me to him because he was the first person to explain to me on a practical level what Odin, and he said it to me, and I was like, you are him, right? Not really knowing what other people think about the Nordic mythology of Odin or whatever. And I was like, I think I'm getting it. So you are showing me this is what it's like when two people really do become one. It's not a wedding ring. It's not your best friend or nothing like that. It is literally she and I are interchangeably inside of us one. He's like, I am the fulfillment of everything Maria's been telling you. He said, you see my house down there? He said, and his wife walked out, was like doing some kind of chores or something, and just walked out of the house for a second. And he was like, that's my wife. And I looked at him and like her side of the face, like winked at me, like, that's me. And down there, half of my face is him. And he said to me, you have to, this had to happen for you to see what it really means for two people to become one. And he's like, we live here. We live here. And it's outside of time. We could be here for thousands of years. We wouldn't notice. It's just like paradise. Our house, the landscape. There was, and I looked around. I was like, there's no other houses. And he was like, there's no other people. You're in my imagination. And I live here. Literally as physical as you live in the Matrix. There's absolutely no difference in feeling and in how real it is. I was like, I love it. I love your home. I love the vibration of it. I just started saying all this stuff to him. And okay, so recently I had I've had a lot of things happen, but Maria said to me in front of Lou, she said, you remember that? What I just told you, this whole thing? She said, that's him right there. You're looking at that dude. And he said to me, you know where that place is? I go, no. He goes, inside of your tree. He said, do you know how that's possible? The tree has an imagination. And where two or more are gathered as observers of imagination, it becomes real. It becomes as real as you need it to be. He was like, my home that you went to, I still own it. I go there all the time. Still, even though you see me at your house, me and Donna have a schedule. And I'll meet her. We go back and we meet at home. That castle that you see. He's like, every single thing inside of it, we imagine together. The whole life, even. And we live like we lived millions of years ago from where you're at right now on Earth. He said, and it's all based on where I grew up and how I grew up. He was like, one thing you have right is it's never, ever quite been this bad. Ever, Joe. That literally the world, the physical world as you know it, ended on Earth in 1948. And this is your time because it's a lost time. And that's why we know each other. If you were born in, 1233 AD, I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here tonight. You'd have a whole different context, a whole different you. You're here because this is you in your time. And this isn't my time, but I've come here to observe you in your time. It's a joyous thing as a brother, a comrade, a friend, to watch your friend overcome these obstacles and tests that only people who go through them know. And I live it all the time with people. And I watch them and I help them, as you know. But I'm just a man, just like you. And I was like, wow. So all those years ago, you're the dude with half the face. And he was like, right. He's like, that's what we normally look like in our real home, our real environment. I was like, that is wild. And, may this energy go forth, our love without death for you, sisters, brothers. May a big, sweeping, deep Om, Om Maria, Om Lulu Shiva. May we all get our priorities right and work to be the very best artists, creators that we can be, so when we do remember, recover, and return, that we can show each other, this is what I was doing. This is how you make the unconscious conscious through art.
In a world where shadows fall, the creed takes hold, it's hard to call. Little Sita, hear the cries, mother's wisdom, it never dies. Baby, little Sita, rise up in night, together push back, ignite the night. No more suffering, break the chains, we'll shout truth, fuse the pains. Behind the smiles, they steal away. Innocent souls cutting their blade. Bankers dance on the broken dreams, but in our hearts we spark the flame. Freedom calls out from the dark, we will ignite, we'll leave a mark. In every heart, let hope her take flight. Eternal vigilance, gods arise.